Okay. I'm Datlow, and I run Fantastic Fiction at KGB with Matt Kressel. Please give him a hand. This has been a long-running reading series. We don't often do specifically horror readings, but I'm really glad to see the crowd here. You know, we do mix. We do science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and it's always the third Wednesday of every month, rain or shine, snow or sleet, holidays, no power, well, anything. We don't take breaks. Can you hear what's going on?
Well, we're in the back, just a little bit.
Can you not hear?
Can you hear in the back?
In the hall. Genevieve, can you hear me?
That is Genevieve. Yeah, maybe I'm just going down.
She didn't say anything, I don't know. Okay. Matt thought I should mention the Kickstarter that he helped me run with Cheesing Publications. If for anyone who doesn't know, I did a Kickstarter with Cheesing. We partnered to do a non-theme horror anthology called Fearful Symmetry. And it's going to be one of my two open reading periods like I did with Nick Mamatas, who helped me with helped with the reading part, not the slush part of Haunted Legends, but co-edited the book with me. Some people have asked when the book's coming out. Well, first of all, we'll have to commission the stories, and we have to have a reading period. And with any kind of publishing, it actually takes a while to do all this. The manuscript is not due until the fall of 2013. The book will be coming out probably in the spring of 2014. But we will be updating everything periodically. So just for anyone who's interested. If you want to talk about it later, you know, either come over afterwards or whatever, or come together and go again. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we are sponsored partly by Cemetery Dance, and we get free use of the bar by KGB, and basically all they ask is that you drink. So that they make money. Yeah. No, you guys didn't drink because you drank stuff. But everyone else is drinking, and that's great. And we're probably going to have to do another, we do fundraising about once every 3 years, and basically what the funds are for is to pay the readers something, a nominal fee, each of them, and to tip the bartender for the drinks, and for their meals, and our meals, that's afterwards, basically. That's what we pay for it, and, you know, we're running out of money, and probably later, maybe in the spring, we'll probably do something, I guess an Indiegogo or something. We don't need much money, but that's how it works. We don't charge here, and we'd like to pay the readers. So, anyway, welcome. And our first reader tonight is Nick Mamatas, who is the author of several novels, including The Damned Highway, co-authored with someone here named Brian Keane. And also, Move Underground, and other things. But anyway, he didn't mention those things. He's also co-edited the anthologies The Future is Japanese with Masumi Washington and Haunted Legends with Datlow. His noir novel, Love is the Law, will be released in 2013.
Yay!
I don't know, but anyway, please welcome Nick Mamatas.
Yeah!
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I've not been in Manhattan in a while, so I guess it's been very gentrified lately. That's why you're here. This is nightlife now. That's what happens. People leave their homes in the evening. They come here. Sorry. It's great to be here at KGB Fantastic Fiction. Just to say a couple things first. I'm retiring from Fantastic Fiction. I'm not going to write any more science fiction, fantasy, or horror. I'm not going to read any fantasy or horror or science fiction tonight. From now on, to be very strict middle-class realism. Slice of life stories.
Horror.
I'm going to read a story now called Slice of Life. Not many women of childbearing age make arrangements to leave their bodies to science. Fewer still die while in their third trimester. Punya's team supervisor had found one somehow, and it was the team's job to cryosection the body. The bodies, Punya reminded herself, into 2,063 slices along the axial plane for mounting and photographing. Imagine going to the deli section at the supermarket and getting a pound of salami sliced. Sliced thin, like an annoying old lady wants it, Punya explained to Emily, her roommate. Punya was whispering, practically hissing. There was something holy about the morning Starbucks line, a serenity Punya didn't want to tear down. Oh no, I can't believe it. What a horror show, Emily said. Horror for a good cause, but never mind. Emily waved her hands before her, wiping away whatever she was imagining. Everyone shuffled ahead, one boot length closer to the counter, and looked down at their phones. Emily and Punya were the only friends in the line. How old was she? 28, Punya said. I meant the baby, Emily said. Punya had lots of things she could have said right then about the philosophical trap of calling fetuses babies, and counting age rather than considering development, but the only thing that came out of her mouth was 7 months. Jesus, Emily muttered. Then it was time to order, and nothing more to be said that wasn't about coffee, or coffee sizes, or what to wear later. Punya's new work assignment came up a lot that long Friday evening. So do you freeze-dry them first, or... That was some girl who liked talking about her apps, her Android app ideas. Lots of them had to do with keeping track of menstrual cycles, or fun branding. Punya also had to explain to her that she was a lab tech, not a doctor, twice. Oh God, that's why I'm going to be a herpetologist, not a pathologist. That was Simon in med school, his first year. Punya had dated him on and off for about 3 months, and he was still nice to have around, as he liked to make himself useful. He'd pay for cabs. He'd play boyfriend when the guys came around drunk, in the forlorn hope of getting back into Punya's pants. Encased in gelatin, huh? That reminds me, let's do Jell-O shots. Punya turned that guy, some hopelessly entangled ex with benefits of Emily's college roommate, down cold, despite his broad shoulders and little chin dimple. The vinyl wasn't even the sort of place that served Jell-O shots, really. It was just the club Emily had dragooned everyone to going to because it was 80s in Manchester night, and she had never gotten over being too young for the Smiths. 0.25 millimeters? Watch that in human hair width. Isn't it strange how everything tiny is compared to human hair? That was the bartender. Punya was pleased. She got the smile, hold up one long finger and say, 1. It's 1 human hair. 1 human head hair anyway. Just about the same diameter. She purposefully left an opening to move the conversation toward the diameter of other kinds of human hair that are not found on human heads, but the bartender did not take the bait. Hey! That was how the app girl initiated the conversation as she toddled up to the bar. They did it already. She had found a YouTube video on her phone and flashed the screen around the little crowd by Punya's stool. Everyone watched the montage. It started at the top of the head and cheered when the convicted murderer Joseph Paul Jerrigan's lone testicle made its appearance, then turned to Punya at the end, his eyes wide and questioning. She closed her eyes for a long moment, then opened them again. Yep, she said, loud over the happy Mondays. We all look like prosciutto under the skin. She chin-pointed to the guy with the shoulders. Even you. She hoped he to blush at that terrible, beautiful, idiot god of a man, but it was by turns too dark and too stroby to really tell. But we're doing it again for a few reasons, Punya said. A younger woman with a fetus. That's not been done before. Digital resolution's a lot sharper now, too. We have so much to learn. She licked her lips. And we're slicing even thinner now. Half a dozen blanching faces, that much Punya could see in the flashes of club lightning. After all, shouted a YouTube comment demanding the footage of a body being sliced from the nose to the back of the skull. How that would really be useful for science. But Punya didn't want to argue with YouTube comments. She felt fingers on her shoulder, then her elbow. It was the bartender with a buyback. She needed it and drained the bottle of Red Stripe in 2 heroic gulps. Enough for some cheers. There was dancing and flirtatious trading of ice cubes on necks and across back. After all, then Simon vanished at some point, Punya noticed. Which was fine with her, except that it wasn't. Then she reminded herself that we're all just bags of water and other chemicals, reacting and twitching and moving about, then making up stories about it later to explain why our bodies did what they had done. And the stories came from a bag within the bag, the wet and sloshy brain. That Punya headed toward the mezzanine anyway, to see if she could spot them from above. Someone muttered something about her hot little brown ass as she squeezed up the staircase, but she ignored it, having no drink to weaponize and spill on them. She'd even tug on the hem of her skirt as she pushed up to the last step. The downstairs bartender seemingly materialized next to her and leaned his elbows on the railing. He was in his civilian clothes now, meaning a normal t-shirt from Walmart or someplace, not the Joy Division number he'd been wearing earlier. Hiya, he said. Punya smiled, deciding that she thought he was cute, even though he had no longer had the power to dispense free rounds. The Visible Human Project, 2.0, he said. Then he explained, too quickly, I went and Googled it on my break. Anyway, isn't it funny? I mean, aren't we all visible humans already? Yeah, that is funny, Punya said. Punya. Rod, the bartender said. I bet, Punya said. Pardon me? Punya smiled, showing plenty of teeth. I was just thinking, she said, about how much time I've got to spend pretending that people aren't really people to get my job done. And it's all because I want to help people in the first place, to cure diseases. Rod smiled and made sure his arm was touching Punya. Me too, he said. I mean, I want to help people too, not cure diseases. I mean, I want to cure diseases, but I'm a bartender. Bartenders need to be good with people. It's like being a therapist. Well, it's like being a pharmacist. Everyone wants to help people, Punya said, and yet everyone seems to need ever more help. Well, not everybody needs to help people. What about politicians? What about Wall Street types? What about dictators? Then Rod stopped. Sorry, I didn't mean to get political when we were trying to be existential. Well, I guess we're not all that little humans, Punya said. That's that girl I'm working on. What happened to her? How did she die? It was suicide. She gave her body to science in a suicide note. An EMT tipped us off and we swooped in. The family contested it, saying she wasn't in her right mind, that she was too distraught. And since her suicide note wasn't witnessed by a notary, it wasn't even legally binding as a last will and testament. Wow. Then you know what happened when you said? I'll tell you, but you got to keep it a secret. Actually, everything I said so far is a secret. Off the record, you understand? Rod turned square with Punya and held up his hand, showing off his nice palms. He must get manicures, Punya decided. I won't tweet a word. What happened is, Punya said, leaning conspiratorially, is that my boss gave the parents $5,000 to go away. And they went away. It just took 2 days and we got the body. Is that strictly legal, Rod asked? Hey, I'm not a lawyer, Punya said. I don't even know where the $5,000 came from. Was it from our grant money? Was it from the kids' college fund? Who knows? I shouldn't even know about the money at all. But in the lab, people like to talk to each other, like I'm not in the room with them. Because I'm like some supermarket employee running the world's fanciest deli slicer. All I know is that we've got a female cadaver now with a fetus in it, and we wanted one for a long, long time. Do you know her name, Rod said? There was something distant in his voice, something that made Punya's eyes widen. Oh God, you didn't know her or anything, did you? Punya said. She barely kept from saying, oh God, you weren't the father or anything, were you? No, Rod said. I mean, no, I was just wondering, since you seem to know so much about her. I don't know her name, Punya said. I call her Alicia, though. She wished they had a drink, only as a prop, so something to sit between sentences. I mean, to myself, I call her Alicia, not to my colleagues. We're very careful not to personify a person, Rod asked. A cadaver, Punya said. I mean, in some med schools you do that now. They're all touchy-feely. I mean, not literally. I mean, yes, literally. But they want you to call the cadavers by their given names as a sign of respect for the dead. Not at my job, though. Is that because of the slicing? Punya shrugged. She looked out on the dance floor. Speaking of medical school, Simon and the actor were long, long gone. Probably off somewhere having sex, she thought. Had Simon changed his sheets that afternoon in hopeful anticipation of a lucky evening? Punya hadn't. She'd been working late at the lab, had to settle for wearing the emergency little black dress she had in her stuffer in the locker room at the bottom of her work locker. I'm sorry I didn't ask for your name when I said hi, Punya, Rod said. That's all right, Rod said, she said. So Rod, why don't you and I start kissing now? And they did. And they were nice. And the bartender's limbs were warm and sweaty and alive on Punya's body. And she tried to kiss him back hard and recalled the name of oxytocin, the systematic name of oxytocin. No, the love peptide, as she called it, at the same time as kissing him. She managed most of it. It was what? Cysteine, tyrosine, isoleucine, glutamine, asparagine, cysteine, something, 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 yummy. The title is Slice of Life.
We're going to take a break. You bring, if anyone has books for the people to the science, please bring them up. I don't think we have any from our...
If you have books that you brought, bring them up.
We'll be back in a minute.